There's a wonderful line at the end of Maya Angelou's absolutely unforgettable "I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings." Some of you may remember it. It's when the mother says, "You don't have to think about doing the right thing. If you're for the right thing, then you do it without thinking." I wrote that down years ago and carry it around in a little book that I have, which reminds me from time to time when things get hard what's really at stake. My little book contains scripture, contains quotes from my favorite authors, contains words of wisdom that I've collected from those who have taught me, those who have gone before, those who still have lessons for all of us willing to listen. And I think we are at a point in our country now where doing right has to be our primary goal. And how do we know what that is in a time of confusion with the kinds of statistics that both Janetta and Maya referred to, where we know that within yards of this great college, people are perishing for lack of hope, because of violence, because of neglect? How do we then define doing right? I think we go back to where all of us started from. We know what it is. It's just that we have lost our way, and too many of us have lost our will to do it. And part of the mission of Spelman has always been to provide the kind of base that will enable women to go forth and do it. What I have hoped throughout this campaign is that we could begin slowly to knit our country back together. It is only the blind or hypocritical who would say that we have not been divided, because we have. And we have, in many instances, been divided deliberately for political reasons, setting race against race, ethnic group against ethnic group, gender against gender, region against region, age against age. Sometimes so subtly that we weren't even sure it was happening until after it had been done. But then we began to see the results. We also know that until we have a political system that is truly responsive to all Americans, we will have a level of alienation and cynicism that will turn off a lot of people. I'm sure there are people in this room who haven't voted, even though they're over 18, for a couple of elections, if ever. As we travel around this country, we meet people at every stop who say they've never voted. We met a 78-year-old woman in Georgia during our bus trip who was registering and voting for the very first time. I got on a train in New York to go to New Haven 2 weeks ago, and a man got on in Harlem and came by to say hello to me, and in the course of our conversation I asked him for his vote, and he said as a matter of principle he doesn't vote. So we know there are many reasons for many people either to forget to vote or choose actively not to vote. But you know, they do vote by their not voting. They vote for the status quo. They vote for the vested interests. They vote for the way things are and have been. And then they lose, as far as I am concerned, any right to question what goes on around them. So the kind of political changes we need, as simple as it may sound, have to start with the vote.